Hello everyone, welcome to your channel Demystify Frontend, and this is going to be very first video on the very first series, which is Angular Forms. Yeah, you heard it right, Angular Forms. You must be using Angular Forms in your project for so long, right? And you must be aware of like what the Angular Form offers to you. Okay, so it offers basically a set of directives which you can use to organize your forms in a manageable way, in a scalable way, right? And it provides you some functionalities out of the box, like that mainly deals with like how you organize your data, how you validate your data, how you can track the values of the controls, or track the values of entire form. Okay, but so this series is not going to be like how you can make use of Angular, but how you can create a package like Angular Forms. You can say how can you build your own Angular Forms. Yeah, because many times we use the libraries, we use frameworks, we use many packages to achieve something, right? And these packages, these libraries, these frameworks, they provide a sort of abstraction which is essential actually. Yeah, because if you are working in a project which is anyhow very much complex, and you cannot deal all the complexities uh, yourself, right? And even to speed up the things, the frameworks and the libraries, everything is required. But my point is, like, when we are using everything in an abstract way, so there is a wall of abstraction, and we don't go beyond that wall. We don't sneak beyond that wall very much, very often, right? So there is always a sort of uneasiness when it comes to knowing like how these things are actually working, how the Angular form is organized, how it is written, how it is made so versatile, so scalable that it can handle, you know, almost every scenario which you want to create, right? So the intent of creating this series is this. As I went through the Angular source code, I learned a lot which is not possible when you are working with a regular project, because it is a tab focused tool, right? The developers are using it to achieve something. So I'll try to explain what I learned in this series. So please subscribe to the channel, stay connected, press the bell icon so that you don't miss any thing in the series going forward. So without wasting your time, let's get started. So the first directive which I have picked, you can see on the screen. You can see on the screen a little form with few inputs. So for the appearance, I have used Bootstrap, nothing fancy, simple layout. Okay, because the primary focus is on building Angular form package right from the scratch. Yes. All right, so the first directive I picked is ngModel. So it is a very important directive. So we use it for data binding, and we can use it either standalone, or we can make it as a part of form. Okay, it works both ways. So we will deal with all the use cases in the upcoming videos. All right, so let's start with the basic directive ngModel. So it's okay. So just let's discuss the use case it covers for you. So what it does basically, it synchronize the control, it synchronize the value of the input element with the model you passed in, right? So we have three elements, we have three variables defined on the component: first name, last name, and gender. We pass these variables as the input property to the ngModel directive, which we apply on these inputs, each of the inputs, two inputs and one select. Okay, So the ngModel basically it should keep the value of the component and the input field value in sync. Means if there is a change in the component, it should reflect in the input. If there is a change in the input by the user, it should reflect back into the component variables. Okay, so without wasting your time, let's get started. How, if you are supposed to implement it, how would you do it? Okay, so this is going to be a new approach. Okay, don't uh, take it as full and final, because my approach is to start with the unoptimized one. Don't create the optimized solution in the first go, because it will miss lots of things, lots of discussion, lots of brainstorming that goes between creating a solution, an optimized solution from the unoptimized one. Yeah, so that's the intent of capturing all those discussions, brainstorming sessions that must have been gone to create such a wonderful package, such a wonderful and such a scalable package. So let's move to the code, let's move to the editor. Okay, so before we start, I'll just need to show like what I have created so far, just to give you a brief overview. So what I have done, if you go to the app module, you will see the forms module is not the regular one, right? It's not coming from the Angular form package. Actually, I have removed it from the package JSON because we don't need it. We will create our own, and if I keep it, it will always be shown in the auto suggest when we import some directive, and that will confuse you. Okay, so I have removed it. Now I have defined one form module inside this source forms folder. Okay, so whatever directives we are going to create going forward, we will keep it in this module and we will export it through this module. Okay, so this I created this module and I'll import it in the use case component like this one. Okay, and the structure is going to be same as we have in the original Angular form package. Okay, so this is the directive, it's just a stub. Okay, so what we need to do, let's define the constructor. So let apply this directive, this just to check whether it is applied onto the control successfully or not. Let me console the instance. Okay, and I'll go to the template use case component and I'll pick the first one and I'll just apply the directive. Okay, now okay, you can see the instance is logged, so directive is being applied. Now what we need to do, we need to pass one input property to this directive and we need to set it on the underlying host element, which is input in our case. For that, what we need to do, for that we just need to, okay, so the directive will get to know about if something is passed to it as an input through the lifecycle hook ngOnChange. So let's implement that quickly. Okay, let's implement the interface and the method required. So this is the method. I'll have to define one input property. Okay, so it accepts the same input property actually with the same name. Okay, inside the directive we can reference it as different with different name. Okay, so this is the alias we will be using in the template, and inside the directive we will refer it with model. So now we have this, by the time this hook is called, this input is already updated, right? Now what we need to do, we need to get hold of the underlying host element. For that we will use element reference. Okay, let's inject element ref. So element ref points to the host element. Okay, it's a wrapper on the DOM node where we apply this directive, that is input in our case. So what we need to do, we need to access the native element key, and since it's an input, so it has a value attribute, value property. We just need to set it with this dot model. Okay, now let's check. Okay, we need to apply the binding first. Okay, so we bind it to the first name property of the component. Now let's check. Oh, you can see we are done with one scenario, like the property I passed, it is correctly set here, but when I change the input, it should emit the current value, and it should reflect here in the component also. In the component value should update with the input value. That will complete the two data binding workflow actually. Okay, for that what we need to do, we need to listen for the input event here. For that, Angular provides something, host listener. Okay, host listener decorator. Okay, mention the event name which you want to listen on this host element, and it accepts the second argument. It's an array of argument, okay, which will be passed to the callback, event callback, basically the event handler. Okay, here there is a special keyword we use, event. Okay, so I mention, so I specify my callback. In the callback, I'll capture the event object and event variable. So what it should do basically, okay, now what we need to do, when there is a change in the input, we need to emit the model, basically this directive emit the event. So we need to define one output event also here. Okay, what we call it ngModel change, and this is update. This is basically an instance of event emitter. So this is how we implement the output events. You must be knowing it. Nothing fancy in this, very simple. So what we do, we just emit the event. What we emit the current value of the input, okay, which we can read through the event object. So there is a target key here, dot value. Okay, one more thing, we need to listen for this event, right? ngModel change. Okay, now here we can specify any valid JavaScript expression. So we just simply set the fname property on the component with the value which we get through this output event. So the output will be captured here in the $event variable. This is a special variable which the Angular will populate. Okay, even I don't know. So that's a convention we have to follow. Okay, now let's check whether we are able to achieve the two-way data binding. So initially the component passed an input variable to the directive and it correctly set it. Now we will change here. Oh yeah, so it is working as expected. When we are changing it, it is making the update back to the component, and when we set into the component, it is reflecting here. Okay, similarly you can pass, you can bind the last name to the another input. Okay, but what we can do, you don't need to write it in this expanded form. Okay, to achieve the same, you can simply use the syntax. Okay, so Angular basically provides you this syntax, which is ultimately compiled into this, right? So the condition is the property which you are bind, the directive must support a change event, or right, like this, which we have already implemented. Okay, now let's check whether, yeah, this is working fine now. So that's all for this. This is a very basic implementation. Okay, don't worry, and even it won't scale very well for other inputs. Yeah, if you have been vigilant enough, you can see we are totally relying on one event here, right? But if we have another input of type checkbox, it won't work there. Yeah, it doesn't support the import events. We have to implement another event like change, right? And even to set the value of the checkbox, there is a checked uh, like uh, basically the host elements can be different. Okay, it can be an array of different controls like checkbox, radio buttons, text areas, or select box, right? So you can't deal with all with a single event. So the solution is not going to scale anyhow. So that we will get to know in the next video. How Angular deals with it, right? How Angular deals with it, how it delegate the responsibility of reading and reading to the host element and writing to the host element, right? So yeah, so please subscribe to the channel, stay connected, press the bell icon, don't miss the next videos. This is going to be a very good learning experience for the Angular guys and even for someone who want to contribute in the open source, because the real benefit will come when you know how the Angular form package is created, from the scratch. You will know in and out. You will become better using this uh, package in your projects, right? So let's see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye. Thank you very much.